Why has the supreme leader of North Korea always been from the Kim family? When asked about North Korea, many people have this question. Perhaps with an understanding of North Korean history, one will have the same sentiment. Living and destiny are also a form of transport. The Korean Peninsula, as the forefront of the Northeast Asian region, has always been a battleground for military strategists since modern times. Therefore, the political landscape of North Korea is often influenced by external powers, becoming a chip in the competition of great powers. Kim Il-sung's rise to power came under such a historical background. From the surrender of Japanese imperialism to the establishment of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, during these 3 years, if we need to rank them, there were many people more qualified than Kim Il-sung to be the leader. At that time, there were mainly 4 forces in North Korea. The local faction active in the enemy's battle zone for a long time, those who studied in the Soviet Union, those who studied in Yan'an, and participated in the anti-Japanese war within China, and lastly, the guerrillas composed of the Northeast People's Army, represented by Kim Il-sung. It has always been thought that the Yan'an faction and the guerrillas were the 2 factions that contributed the most to the anti-Japanese war in North Korea. However, to become the leader of a country, it's not enough to just discuss merits, suitability is also a must. Especially at that time, South Korea was supported by the United States, and there was a powerful Soviet Union in the Northeast. Therefore, the leader of this newly established country must not have strong personal emotional coloring. So, Kim Il-sung, who was relatively moderate, became the best candidate for the leader of North Korea. Despite becoming the leader of North Korea, Kim's power was not stable due to favorable conditions. Simply speaking, there were too many voices in the government, which inevitably created noise. Therefore, to solidify the political situation in North Korea, Kim Il-sung initiated a 46-year-long struggle. Eventually, North Korean politics attained stability under Kim Il-sung's efforts. After resolving domestic realistic issues, Kim Il-sung turned his attention to the more basic and important field of thought. In April 1965, on a visit to Indonesia, Kim Il-sung proposed for the first time a system of Juche ideas: ideological subjectivity, political independence, economic qualifications, and national defense autonomy. The emergence of the system of Juche ideas enabled Kim Il-sung to grasp the weapon of thought. Subsequently, books about Kim Il-sung's revolutionary deeds and thoughts were published in North Korea. In December 1972, the Socialist Constitution of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea came out, and Kim Il-sung was elected as the chairman of North Korea. If Kim Il-sung becoming the leader of North Korea was influenced by the historical background, then Kim Jong-il succeeding his father was something destined to happen. Beginning in the early 1960s, Kim Jong-il gradually participated in assisting his father, Kim Il-sung. At this stage, his main job was to help his father firmly establish Kim Il-sung's leaders-only thought system. Undoubtedly, this work was done in accordance with his father's heart. In October 1972, at the 5th Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, Kim Jong-il was elected as a Party Central Committee member and formally entered the Korean Party Central Committee. Worth mentioning is that by this time, everyone had stopped addressing Kim Jong-il as comrade or committee member and instead addressed him as beloved leader. This title was first used by literary and artistic workers to praise Kim Jong-il's great achievements in ideological and cultural aspects. It was later introduced by some officials and gradually became a formal address. The interesting part here is that Kim Il-sung did not oppose this clearly flattering address. In June 1971, at a meeting, Kim Il-sung suddenly said, "Our revolutionary cause is not yet complete. The revolution is continuing. People are constantly changing from one generation to another. Only when the new generation continues the revolution can they take over the revolution and accomplish our sacred cause." Clearly, there was a deeper meaning behind this statement. Hence, under Kim Il-sung's call, the voice of Kim Jong-il's succession became louder and louder within North Korea, especially some of the old comrades who followed Kim Il-sung in the anti-Japanese war. They directly praised Kim Jong-il at various public occasions, repeatedly disregarding Kim Il-sung's disapproval and publicly suggested that Kim Jong-il be the successor of the Juche revolutionary cause. For example, at the 8th plenary session of the 5th Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea in February 1974, Woo Jung-yu, a North Korean anti-Japanese fighter, stood up inappropriately and called for Kim Jong-il to be selected as a member of the political committee. Therefore, under such circumstances, it was clearly a certainty that Kim Jong-il would enter the North Korean power center. In November 1980, Kim Jong-il was officially recognized by the North Korean government as Kim Il-sung's successor and appeared on the international stage. In order to realize this power transition, Kim Il-sung had been cultivating a new foundation for his son in the last decade of his rule. Entering the last decade of the 20th century, to the world's surprise, the unprecedentedly powerful Soviet Union collapsed. In view of this situation, Kim Il-sung decisively started the power transition early and gradually transferred the command of the army to Kim Jong-il. Therefore, before the death of Kim Il-sung in July 1994, Kim Jong-il had become the de facto supreme leader of North Korea. The subsequent succession was just a formality. So the question arises, why Kim Jong-il specifically? In the Western academic circles, due to the scarcity of resources and differences in ideology, it is often summarized that the choice of Kim Jong-il was due to the personal preference of Kim Il-sung, North Korea's first leader. However, this view is somewhat biased. In fact, if we consider the domestic situation in North Korea, even without his special relationship with Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il was still the best choice for the successor. For instance, in the economic aspect, many people assume that Kim Jong-il didn't have notable achievements due to North Korea's decline in the 1990s. However, according to North Korean official data, the prosperity of North Korea in the 1970s, under Kim Il-sung's rule, was largely due to Kim Jong-il's leadership. In a sense, it was Kim Jong-il's significant achievements in the economic area that earned him Kim Il-sung's recognition and later his promotion as the successor. Furthermore, as a small country situated at the front line of competition among the major powers in Northeast Asia, North Korea's desire to maintain its independence and autonomy necessitates a unified internal consensus. Otherwise, it might become an overseas military base for a major power, like its southern neighbor. In fact, after the Soviet Union's collapse in the early 1990s, predictions of North Korea's imminent collapse emerged repeatedly. Under such a historical backdrop, North Korea's survival to this day, with Kim Jong-il's succession playing a key role, is significant. On December 17, 2011, North Korea's supreme leader, Kim Jong-il, died of a sudden myocardial infarction, and a mysterious post-80s figure named Kim Jong-un officially stepped into the foreground of North Korean politics. Unlike his father, Kim Jong-il, who was groomed for over 20 years before assuming leadership, Kim Jong-un's rise to power seemed quite hasty. Even from an objective perspective, the North Korean public knows very little about their own national leader. So if Kim Jong-il's succession was due to his achievements, what about Kim Jong-un? The American media once reported a story from 1986 when Bruce Cummings, a professor from the University of Chicago, visited North Korea and had an exchange with a Soviet diplomat. When Cummings queried the diplomat about the likelihood of Kim Jong-il's succession, the diplomat did not answer directly, but said meaningfully that if Cummings could visit North Korea again in 2020, he would see Kim Jong-il's son ruling North Korea. Evidently, the Soviet diplomat was right. Returning to our question, why must it be Kim Jong-un? The Dong-a Ilbo, a South Korean newspaper, once provided an answer. South Korean scholars believe that anyone who is not a direct descendant of Kim Il-sung taking control of North Korea would face a fundamental problem: conflict with the Juche ideology founded by Kim Il-sung. Now, after nearly half a century of development, Juche ideology has an irreplaceable status in North Korea. Therefore, to a certain extent, in the eyes of the North Korean people, only someone with the perfect ideological quality, like General Kim Il-sung, can continue to lead North Korea. This viewpoint was most powerfully proved after Kim Il-sung's death in 1994. Kim Jong-il waited for 3 years before taking up the position of General Secretary and amended the Constitution in 1998 to honor Kim Il-sung as the eternal chairman of North Korea. Therefore, the successor after Kim Jong-il could only be his son. However, putting other factors aside, is Kim Jong-un a qualified leader? Looking back over the past 10 years, we can affirmatively answer yes. In fact, Kim Jong-il had 3 sons, including Kim Jong-nam, the elder brother of Kim Jong-un. Why did Kim Jong-il ultimately choose Kim Jong-un? Kim Jong-il once provided an answer during his lifetime. Despite being very young, Kim Jong-un has insight and practical ability, making him no less than a future leader. The South Korean media also reported Kim Jong-il's private evaluation of Kim Jong-un. He has a grand military vision and strong capabilities. Party staff should learn from Comrade Marshal Kim Jong-un's loyalty to the party and his spirit of dedication to the people. Thus, although Kim Jong-un had the credentials to be a successor, what really determined everything was his nature and abilities. Objectively speaking, choosing Kim Jong-un is also the Kim family's way of being responsible for North Korea's future.